In 1988, the odd to say the least movie in quotation marks, Moonwalker came out around the height of Michael Jackson's popularity. I'm not here to comment on the movie, but it is important to note that it was the inspiration for a video game 2 years later. Wait, did I say a video game? 3 video games. This is the first, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the arcade. Making a video game based on a movie was nothing new, and yes, the source material is already weird. It's a bit hard to judge a video game's weirdness when it's based on a trippy as holy burf is a trippy movie. Still, the strangeness of this game goes up a full notch when you see on the title screen, game concept and designed by Michael Jackson. You don't see that sort of credit on just any movie to game adaptation. This isn't just something they say because they created the movie. These words would only be here if Michael Jackson physically sat down with Sega executives and said, "I want a video game based on my movie, starring me, where I shoot magical energy out of my hands, defeat bad guys with the power of dance, and turn into a robot to rescue children from a crazed drug dealer." Even then, it doesn't just say game concept, it says game concept and design, meaning Michael Jackson got involved in the making of this game in some way. This goes a bit beyond how strange the movie was. The game's plot is fairly close to the second half of the Moonwalker movie, in which Michael Jackson and some small children are targeted by a not-so-smooth criminal. There are guys in weird costumes with machine guns. Michael sees a shooting star, which causes him to transform into a car, then later a robot that shoots lasers and missiles, and finally a weird jet thing. In this game, up to 3 players can play at once, which means, yes, 3 Michael Jacksons. His primary attacks are shooting energy out of his fingertips, not seen in the movie, and doing a spin attack, also not seen in the movie. He also has a special secondary attack where he busts some dance moves, which instantly dazzles all enemies on the screen, making them unable to resist joining in the dancing until the sudden stop where everything effing explodes. This is actually really awesome. Now that I think of it, this is kind of the natural evolution of musicals. Those never made sense. People break into carefully rehearsed song and perfectly choreographed dance out of nowhere all the time. This takes that to the extreme. It's one thing to blow up bad guys, but making them dance first is just great. So hats off to Michael for that. On the other hand, I have to laugh every time a new level starts and Michael Jackson seems oddly excited about being plunged into mortal danger. Anyway, what sort of bad guys does Michael Jackson blow up? Well, the big boss, simply called Mr. Big, has plenty of surprises in store for you. You start with the typical gangster guys and the motorcycle helmet troops from the movie, but this time they look sort of like the playable characters in Narc.
You're busted!
For some reason, Mr. Big has robots in his employ, which wasn't in the movie, but hey, you can't have video games without either robots or ninjas. No, I'm serious. At least 90% of games either have robots or ninjas. It's a medical fact. When you hold down the attack button, Michael charges up his energy attack, but also moonwalks. Now, let's be fair, this is hard to criticize. I mean, there's no sensible reason why he would moonwalk, but if Michael Jackson is going to star in a game called Moonwalker, it would be a slap in the face not to have a moonwalk, so here you go. Hey, it's Bubbles, Michael Jackson's pet chimp. Touching him turns you into the robot from the movie. Okay, who came up with this? Was it Michael Jackson, or was it one of the Sega goons that got forced into working on the project? A shooting star was somewhat flimsy in the movie, but touching a chimpanzee turns you into a giant robot? Did they merge together to form Super Mecha Michael Jackson like Voltron or Captain Planet? Wow, I know way too much about pop culture. Some of the bad guys throw barrels at you like Donkey Kong. Then you have these raving lunatics running around with knives. They don't even seem to be after you, they just like flapping their knives around while they run in circles. Then there's this thing. What is that, a robotic vacuum? Ooh. These cutscenes never fail to amuse. Did this bad guy spray chloroform on his bare hand or what? What is this craziness? This guy's driving a single big wheel. He reminds me of a certain lamest Spider-Man villain ever. Like I said, I know too much about pop culture. Mr. Big has also planted flamethrower turrets in the middle of the street. Hold on a minute, I know I shouldn't nitpick realism in a game where Michael Jackson blows the dump out of people by dancing at them, but this doesn't make sense. Other beat-em-up games will have traps like this. Take Ninja Turtles and X-Men. There's plenty of stuff that pops out and shoots stuff at you, but that's always a big secret lair or factory. Mr. Big, who's after Michael Jackson for witnessing his secret plans, is able to spare the time and expense it would take to build flamethrower turrets that pop out of the middle of the street? How do you do this with guys disguised as construction workers? I suppose it's possible since he manages to disguise his men as members of a band just to ambush Jackson like his other troops. But first they have to put their costumes on. There we go. The mini-boss of this level is a big robot, and... okay, I'm not one to side with Sigmund Freud, but isn't this kind of really suggestive? I promised myself I wouldn't make a joke about Michael Jackson rescuing children, partially out of respect for Mr. Jackson's passing, and partly out of respect for good comedy. Those jokes are just really old, guys. But seriously, what is with this robot? Are we supposed to see this and not think dirty thoughts? This can only be on purpose. What's crazy, but also really cool about this game at the same time, is that everything dances. If you use your special dance attack, everything on screen joins in. Troops, robots, even as this level shows us, dogs. The next level is the graveyard. You know what that means, right? Yep, the zombies. But do they dance? Yes. Yes, they do. The only thing in this whole game that doesn't dance is Bubbles the chimp. What's the problem, buddy? Junkyard dogs can dance, but the more intelligent primate that spends all its time around Michael Jackson can't imitate a few dance moves? Whoa, what's this? A giant 3-barreled cannon that shoots ghosts? Ghosts, you say? Do the ghosts dance? I suppose it's stupid to even ask. Just that everything that's joined in MJ's dance-a-thon so far has been corporeal. I had to at least see. Look at this little green thing. I guess it's a scaled down version of the bigger robot from Stage 3. It just looks like a tiny ATST. Yes, I could be even more of a geek, but I've seen such people and they frighten me. Oh great, there's more of them. Oh man, this looked bad enough when it wasn't dancing. Here's a cliche elevator screen. You know, it's actually just refreshing after ghost cannons and dry humping robots to see something normal enough that it could be cliche. We're just about done here. The final boss is just Mr. Big inside a giant spider-legged robot that shoots streams of fire everywhere. I don't know what it says about a game that, compared to everything else, this is so normal that it's barely worth mentioning. Mr. Big's evil plot has been foiled with the destruction of his deadly doomsday weapon, the gigantic laser cannon. Wait, that's his doomsday weapon? Okay, yeah, he did have one in the movie, I guess, but I don't know if I would call it doomsday weapon. What is he, Dr. Evil? Okay, I'm sorry, but this one warrants a reference. Dr. Evil is supposed to be a parody. He just can't take something like that seriously. And the children that he saved? Well, they're smiling. Because deep down in their hearts, they know Michael will return one day to share with them another wondrous and magical... Okay, that's it, I'm out.
Moonwalker.
By the way, there are no credits for this game except for Michael Jackson, game concept and design, and all the music tracks used. Did no one else want their name attached to this or what?